Thank you for finding the time. I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
Brad, it's such a huge pleasure to be here with you. It's so good to see that you are involved with Marvel Studios since day one, since Iron Man, right? Which is amazing. Yeah. And Iron Man has become the blueprint to what Marvel Studios has become over the years. And I wanted to know from you how much of that blueprint we can still find in new projects, future projects, and in the future of Marvel Studios, not only for movies, but also television and animation.
I think you are right on that to say that Iron Man is the blueprint for the entire studio. I think that's absolutely true. I think there was a spirit of experimentation on that film, even in the early days, that was based on Kevin's instincts and Jon Favreau's feelings about malleable storytelling and Robert Downey Jr.'s improvisational acting style that kind of laid the groundwork for a really fun, very natural, character-based style of storytelling that people have come to associate with Marvel.
Nice. And Daredevil Born Again is finally coming, thank God. And obviously the original show is still like a fan favorite. Everybody loves that show. And I wanted to know how much of that original show, of that essence from the first Daredevil, is there in Born Again?
If you're a fan of that original show, you're going to be very happy. I hope. I think so. It follows many of the same characters, but it does feel like we're thrusting everyone into a new, unfamiliar world. New York City has changed. It's many years later. It's almost 10 years later. The levers of power in New York have changed, and everybody's trying to get their hands on them. And that really is, I think, the core of the story. Is this story about justice in a corrupt world.
And I love that you mentioned that the power has changed, the power game has changed in New York, and obviously that impacts a lot in our character's mind and the way he behaves as a hero. Tell me, how much of that impacts our hero here in this show? How much impacts not only his behavior, but as a hero, but also as a person, as a citizen?
Yeah. I mean, I think in Matt you have a character who is. One of the things that I think people relate to is that he's torn apart in his own soul. He wants to be two people at once. He gets something out of both, and those two people, Matt Murdock and Daredevil, they're not always ethically aligned. Matt Murdock, the lawyer, and Daredevil, the vigilante, are often at odds. So what I think makes him a really compelling character to watch on screen is that internal struggle where he's trying to decide who to be. That feels like, it resonates with the struggle inside of all of us.
Yeah, and we saw that a lot in the beginning of his journey in the first show, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so I'm happy that this show is not a PG show, and obviously that makes us all very excited. But in a scale from 1 to 10 in terms of extreme violence and also gore, how much Daredevil Born Again is extreme violent and also dark tone from 1 to 10?
I think it's an 11.
Wow, I love that.
I'll also say, be careful what you wish for.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. For us to wrap our interview, X-Men 97 was such a huge and beautiful surprise, also a homage to that classic TV show, which is very iconic here in Brazil. Kids from, millennial kids are a huge fan of that show. Tell me, what was that vital thing that was so important in the core of that show to get that final result, which is just like, that's chef's kiss, that show.
There were so many things that we had to do to make it feel like our memory of watching that show as kids. But if you maybe just to tell you the one thing that was the most important, it was the cast. it's getting so many of those original actors to come back and reprise those roles for us.
Amazing. It was such a huge pleasure to talk to you, Brad.
Same.
Thank you so much for your time, and I'm so excited for Daredevil Born Again. I can't believe this day has finally come. As you mentioned, like, it's been 10 years in the show. It's been a lifetime for us as an audience.
I hope we made you happy.
I don't know, I have like a good feeling about that show.
Same.
Eu também fui criado para acreditar em retribuição.